Here we are back at the WrestlePlex with probably what might end up being the most violent match in a long time. The Heavenly Bodies of Chaos representing NWA against the Snack Pack and IPW's Hardcore Champion, your partner, Havoc.
Yes, I mean, what are the Heavenly Bodies thinking? Do they think that they actually are going to make it to the cage match on the 13th? I mean, look, they have the Snack Pack and the Hardcore Champion Havoc in this match.
You know, Ron Nemi's always thinking, I could have put them in there with some cream puffs. I could have put them in there with the Gauntlets or Mark Zelt or these other guys that are more interested with coming out there and playing around and entertaining the fans. But the truth is, I don't want these idiots getting to the cage match. I don't want them getting to their own anniversary show. As a matter of fact, I don't even want them here on October 12th. We got an entire weekend. October 12th and 13th, I'm not even going to try to spit it out. What is it called?
It is the Florida Wrestle Fest at the Florida WrestlePlex.
That wasn't bad. That
know,
wasn't
hey,
bad at all.
I practiced.
You know, we have the 12th. We have matches such as Scoot Andrews defending his IPW Heavyweight Championship against the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. You got Naftali taking on NWA Wildside's Cruiserweight Champion Jimmy Rave in a rematch. But not only in a rematch, in a ladder match. What do you think's going to happen that night?
I think there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears poured out in that match. And it's probably not going to be mine.
I certainly hope not, because, you know, I'm paying you good money to get in there and take care of a job. I'm paying you good money to go in there and take that belt from Jimmy Rave, so Bill Behrens is up on NWA Wildside TV wondering what to do, because then he's going to have to bring in IPW talent. You see the Heavenly Bodies getting the life kicked out of them by the giant Kubiak. Vito DiNucci's never been in the ring with somebody like Kubiak in the NWA. He's used to being in there with somebody like Bugsy McGraw, maybe Pepe Prado, or some of these other little weasels. Kubiak is a monster. He's a henchman paid for by myself. And you know something? The Commissioner, Eddie Edwards, he's not afraid to get his hands a little dirty in this. He'll pull out the checkbook. He'll take care of these
Look
guys.
At Vito running. I mean,
he's running like a coward. But you see the IPW fans. They're about 2 feet away from the ring. There is nowhere to run at the WrestlePlex.
Nowhere to run.
If they try to get up the back door, you know something? This guy don't care. I think half the time he's like, I don't know if he's a mix between like Luke Williams, Abdullah the Butcher, and what's his name, Outback Jack.
Outback Jack was a fine competitor.
He was more known for his scientific skills, but you know, maybe he wasn't exactly the most entertaining of cats, but he definitely was the Goon.
This is true. I mean, you know, the Goon.
Nevertheless, back to the action. Chris Nelson standing on the outside. Chaos. I don't know if this guy is really friends. I don't know if he really cares. He'll sit and talk about barbecues over at his friend Howard Brody's house. He'll talk about going down and hanging out with all the NWA legends like Lou Thez. Chaos is a paid mercenary.
You know, Chaos disgusts me. I mean, Rod, who was I trained by?
You were trained by Chaos, and you guys might come from totally different backgrounds. You might work totally different styles, but Chaos was trained by the great Malenko himself. Beautiful dropkick by Vito DiNucci. Man, he can get up there for a big guy.
Yeah, but he's not quite as big as this man coming in now.
And he's not quite as big as the hardcore giant Ron Nemi.
He might be a little bigger.
And I can throw a drop kick with the best of them. But Havoc, the IPW hardcore champion, I'll tell you what, man, he's really cleaned up his act, too. He's supposed to be all about blood and guts.
Going right after his
he
trainer.
Goes right after him. Yet, speaking of trainer, Havoc is your partner. You guys have teamed together. You're former IPW tag team champions. You guys have fought against each other. You've been members of the Anarchy Suicide Squad together. And now, along with Dagan Briggs, Ash Corbin, and Seven, you form Wrongful Death. You guys have a long history, and it all starts right with Chaos.
Yes, it does. I mean, Chaos, you know, he taught us, well, not everything, you know, that we know, obviously. I mean, he can't exactly teach me the, you know, step through, drop toe hold, but, you know, stuff like that.
He's the type of guy that isn't going to show you. That's what
But you know what, look at his smarts here. Taunting the Snack Pack while the Heavenly Bodies, you know, sit and name, and what are they doing to him?
I'm not sure. They're either choking him or I don't know. Vito, he's the type of guy I'm not always quite sure what he's up to. Chris Nelson's on the outside basically having a time
Hey,
of
if
his
this
life.
is an NWA match, wouldn't that right there be a disqualification?
Yeah, that That would be what they consider an exciting
But this
finish.
is not an NWA match.
No,
this
it's
is
not.
IPW.
This is IPW sanctioned, but I will give the NWA credit. Chris and Vito, they might not be friends of mine, but they are fighting champions. They put the tag belts on the line anytime they got a chance. They defended against the Shane brothers. They defended against anybody that's come at them from Texas, NWA Wildside, and multiple meaningless independents throughout the country. But when they're in IPW, know the belts aren't on the line tonight because it's a six-man tag match, obviously. But on October 12th, Vito DiNucci and Chris Nelson are signed to be at the WrestlePlex. Nobody's signed the contract to face them yet. Who knows who I might put them in the ring?
And I tell you, if I didn't have Jimmy Rave, I would beg to beat up the Heavenly Bodies. But you know, I always do have two other little partners of mine.
Beautiful spin kick by Chris Nelson. You missed that, man. You want to talk about an athlete? You don't think about spinning kicks to the side of the head when you think of Chris Nelson. That was perfectly executed.
Ronnie, did you see any of Havoc's teeth at the ringside? Because they can't be this
No, they can't be. You know something? You guys talk about being trained by Chaos himself, but if you call the Florida WrestlePlex at 727-526-6778, anybody that wants to come down and train to be a wrestler, if you got what it takes, go ahead and sign that release. Bring your knee pads and elbow
big
pads.
double
Wow,
team
beautiful. And you can get in the ring with Havoc, Naftali, the Shane brothers, Devin, and Rastaman, who will run you through the most brutal training session that you'll ever get in. And if you got what it takes, maybe you someday will be in IPW Hardcore Wrestling going against the likes of the NWA.
This is true. I mean, but, you know, look at these guys. I mean, who would want to? But, you know, if you're an IPW fan, you want to help us out in this feud. So why don't you come down to the WrestlePlex, sign the release waivers, and get in there. We'll train you to kick some butt.
The thing with this feud is it's become more than IPW versus NWA Florida. This has basically become IPW against
what is Jim
NWA
doing?
around the world.
It's obvious Chaos is sitting there choking.
It's obviously Jim Bragg went to the same school as the Mud Baby, Star Stevens. Wrestling 101, he didn't attend. But you know, Havoc, on October 12th, will be defending the IPW Hardcore title at the WrestlePlex against the NWA Zone from Canada, Juggernaut. One of the most brutal wrestlers you'll ever find. And making out the rest of that three-way match, the former one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions, David Young, who has engaged in some of the most brutal, bloodiest, sickest matches ever seen in Georgia against New Jack. Havoc will defend the belt in a three-way dance on October 12th against both men. That's if he gets through tonight.
This is true. I mean, and fans, you know, if you guys are Gallagher fans, I suggest you bring your ponchos because blood will be a-flying.
Who's Gallagher?
Some guy, watermelons.
Oh, the watermelons in the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
He's not funny in the least bit. Beautiful drop kick. That's why you're here. That's why you're here, Naftali.
I'm sorry, double backdrop there. I mean,
You failed your test miserably, and from this point forward, I'll handle the technical. Beautiful punch by, see how, that's a nice punch, and then another one, he's gonna hit him with, he's just punching the life out of him. Vito DiNucci says, I'm not selling a damn thing, I'm one half of the NWA Tag Team Champions.
by Vito, I mean.
He's been working a lot of Dusty Rhodes shows with Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. He's learned the fine art of the nut shot, the Dusty screw job finish, and everything else that went out of style
Vito
15
doesn't go
years
to the
ago.
top rope.
He does go to the top rope.
For what?
I don't have any idea.
Oh,
a missile
that is
drop
exactly what. A missile drop kick from the top. You know, this is gonna put Havoc. Big save by the snack bag.
That's what hanging around people like Jimmy Del Rey. That's what hanging around with people like Chris Nelson and the other legends from Florida and all around the world. You see Jimmy Del Rey at ringside. He's not worried.
Oh, no, what is this, neck breaker?
Oh, beautiful. We haven't even acknowledged that the former Heavenly Body himself, Jimmy Del Rey, the manager of the NWA World Tag Champs, is standing ringside. He's fanning himself at ringside and mocking the IPW fans. He's not concerned in the least bit. Jimmy Del Rey is somebody that helped break me into the business 10 years ago. He used to beat the hell out of me week after week, and the truth is, Jimmy Del Rey is aligned with NWA. See, they don't care if they're biting Havoc in the head. They don't care if they're ripping his eyes out of his socket. Jimmy Del Rey, Chris Nelson, Vito DiNucci, and Chaos are some of the dirtiest players in the game, and I want a piece of this action myself. Oh, he's not gonna be feeling good tomorrow. And there he is.
I think his after-show plans just went right out the window with that one.
He's hanging in what Aaron Royal refers to as the tree of very woeful things.
Ooh, and he just got another one right there. And look at Kubiak on the side over there just taking it to Vito.
Havoc has this new girl, the Hardcore Princess, coming to the ringside. You guys already got 7 in wrongful death. How many of these young ladies do you need in your group? Come on.
It's not necessarily how many we need, it's how many we want, if you think about
Well,
it.
I gotta admit, I like that style. Like, oh! Vicious super kick to his own partner's head.
Vito doesn't even know that. He doesn't even know what he just did. 1, 2, 3, it's over.
You want to talk about an upset win? The snack pack beating the heavenly
The
bodies.
NWA World Tag Team Champions.
Now, you want to talk about vaulting up the rankings on the independent ranks in IPW and NWA all over the world? What the hell is Chaos doing?
I know it's IPW, but
We can't show this on TV, man.
can't show this kid.
Get that thing off of him. See, this is the problem. We got guys in the back that are trying to. Holy.
What?
Man, I'm all for hardcore and I'm all for blood and guts, but there's a fine line, and this feud has gone far too far. October 12th and October 13th, Chaos sticking a giant knife to the head of Havoc. The hardcore champion is bleeding a gusher. This is one of the most disgusting acts of violence that I've ever seen, and he's still not. He's actually trying to scalp Havoc.
Come October 12th, October 13th, this is not even far from finished. We're just going to take them.
There's nothing more I can say. All I can do is I'm going to leave these people with this picture and understand this is the beginning of the end.